Ooh. So you join me very early. Well, for us, about 6 in the morning. Joe's awake too.
Good morning, hair.
Cozy hair. It's a pretty beautiful morning, very calm. It was a bit rocky last night, as we expected in this anchorage, but it has calmed down this morning. But we can't enjoy it because we've got a long way to go now. We want to try and get to Arisaig today. It's about 30 odd miles. And the wind's picking up against us. So we need to get out of Salen Mull by, well, as early as possible really. And then hopefully we can actually have a decent sail over to Arisaig. But as you can probably tell, we're going to be motoring again this morning. But before we can get going, a certain somebody needs to go to shore. Get in. You go to the toilet or are you going to get in? Carla? Toilet? No? Go then.
Okay, so we have just left our anchorage. Now, we did have a slight issue with our engine this morning in the form of the stop cable that's on it. It seems to have broken and you can't actually stop the engine with it anymore. So because of that, it wasn't actually starting because it didn't release the valve or the thing that it needed to. So Tim's had to detach that, and he is going to jig up some sort of fix for it, because at the moment, if we want to turn it off, we've got to take the stairs off, which isn't ideal. So he's going to try and rig it up, but we can just do it from the hatch. So not the worst issue in the world, but it is what it is.
If you can see me past Skylar, who's been decided to sit on me for the last couple of hours. We're just passing Tobermory Lighthouse. Hopefully you can see in the background there. So far so good. Been going about an hour and a half, something like that. Motoring, of course, because the wind is always on our nose at this point. But this was kind of part of the reason. There's very little wind at the moment, and that's why we want to get going so early, so we could sort of push through this section where we knew we'd be into the wind when there's very little wind, and then once we turn the around the point at the end of here, we should hopefully have the wind in our favour and be able to sort of sail across to our destination, which I'm not going to butcher the name of. So it's been really smooth motoring to start off with, as we're now sort of pointing out into the big ocean ahead. We are starting to pick up a little bit of swell, but it's still fairly relaxing, and the tide is not much, but it is in our favour, so we are getting about 4.5 knots, which, yeah, I don't think we're going to maintain that, but if we did, we'd make it to our destination in by about 2:30, 3 o'clock, so that would be very good. We're coming up on the point now. Another 40 minutes or so. If we can stay like this, once we get around the corner, hopefully we'll get a nice relaxing sail. Be enough wind to move along at a reasonable pace. Sunny, warm, not too crazy, not too exciting. That'll be quite nice. Get both sails out. A nice straight line sail all the way to insert AI voice. Anyway, we will see though. No doubt when we get around the corner the wind will shift 180 degrees and be in our nose again. So you will note from the lack of engine noise for the first time in about 20 hours of traveling, the wind is not directly on our nose. So we have the sails out and we are sailing, doing a comfortable 3.5–4 knots, which is nice. And we're basically on a straight tack all the way to Arisaig. Arisaig, right, yeah?
Arisaig.
And if we can keep this pace, and we'll be there in about 3.5 hours, so that'll be a really lovely few hours of sailing, if we can hold it together. Sun's come out, it's pretty nice. As you can tell, Joe's in a bikini.
I've got my summer cap on.
Yeah, she did earlier pass me her hat and say, can you swap this for my summer hat? Because she was wearing her big woolly hat. So yeah, Joe is...
I've got one coat on now as well.
Yeah, and she's only wearing one coat, boys. Very exciting. Try and relax yourself. Anyway, yeah, so it is warm, but it's still a bit chilly in the breeze. And Joe, being part lizard, means that she has to stay covered up at all times. So anyway, yeah, 3 and a bit hours hopefully, and we'll be heading on into Arisaig. Yeah, it's a beautiful day, nice to give the engine a bit of a rest. She's been doing great for us the last couple of days. Can't fault her, but you know, I just don't like running the engine on this boat. There are low confidence issues in it, and at the end of the day it's a sailboat, so it's supposed to be sailed, not boated. Right, well, we'll keep pottling on and we'll let you know when we get a bit closer.
So we are making great progress on our trip to Arisaig today, and we've only got about an hour and a half, 2 hours left to go. And I just made us a most amazing lunch, if I do say. We had tuna melt toasties, ideal for a day like this, and I've even lost my trousers, so you know it's a warm day. I'm just in a coat. So the wind seems to have dropped completely, and we're going now at around 1.5 to 2 knots. So Tim's just doing some washing up, and then once he's finished that, I think we're going to pull the sails in and then put the motor back on for the rest of the way. We are almost there. We haven't got far to go, so it's a shame that the wind's dropped now and we weren't able to just get all the way there. But we've had a really good stint of sailing, which has been nice. We've not had to change course or anything like that, so it's been really good. It did get a bit bumpy. I did find it hard doing the cooking for lunch as the boat was rocking around a bit, but it's been really nice. And yeah, it's nice and sunny now, and hopefully we'll get in good time, and then we can go and explore the sort of village there and see what there is to offer.
So we've almost made it. We're just entering into the very narrow channel on the way into Arisaig. It's been a really good trip so far. Hopefully it's going to continue. The wind has died, but as you can tell, there's quite a bit of swell right now. Mainly because I'm just motoring, but yeah, we just got to thread the needle through this bit. At the lowest point in the chart, it gets down to 10 centimeters, but we have timed as well. It's almost high tide, so we should have at least 3 meters on top of that, so it should be fairly easy to get ourselves in there. And we are following someone else, so we'll just not hit the things that they hit.
After arriving at Arisaig, we dropped anchor and headed to shore for some supplies and a walk around the village. Topped off with some ice creams in the sun. Right, so we're back on the boat, having been to Arisaig and had a bit of a look around the village. It's quite small, but it's really beautiful. There's some stunning houses there. But our plan is, this is quite a busy area and we're really quite far away from the shore for Skylar. So what we're going to do is we're picking up anchor as we speak, and we're going to head over to the other side of the bay where it's a bit more sort of secluded on its own. We'll be able to get closer to the shore so that I'll be able to take Skylar out on my own in the morning, which will be quite nice. And yeah, it's such a beautiful day here. It's really nice. We've got to make the most of it because it is meant to come in and rain tomorrow. But for now, it is just stunning. With a jumper and everything. Once settled in the new anchorage, we headed out in the dinghy so that I could attempt to film and photograph some of the seals that were nearby. This proved to be much harder than I thought. Come on, focus. Now, if you want to see the full video on this, then that is over on my photography channel, which I will link in the description for you to go and check out if you would like to see it. A bit later on, I headed back into shore with the drone to take advantage of the beautiful weather in our stunning location.
So what a difference a day makes. It's turned out pretty miserable today. There's a bit of wind, it's not too bad. But yeah, it's real cold, drizzly, misty. You can see the moorings on the other side of the bay now, but a little bit earlier you literally couldn't even see across to the other side. We're a bit stuck on plans at the moment. It's a pretty big storm, big winds coming day after tomorrow. So yeah, it's Sunday today. Monday, Tuesday are looking like some pretty bad weather, particularly Tuesday. We were hoping to get into Mallaig, but the old any port in a storm isn't actually real, and it's actually any port that has space in a storm. So we spoke to them this morning. They were pretty non-committal as to whether they could get us in, but we decided we'll stay here today, and then we're going to try for Mallaig in the morning. So we're going to leave pretty early tomorrow, I think. Get up there for when the kind of office opens and see if we can kind of get in. If we get in, we'll stay there for a couple of days probably. So yeah, so we're a bit unsure as to what the plan is, but we are going to stay here today. We could just stay here, but then we're going to be stuck here for like 4 days, and there's not much to do here, so it's going to be pretty miserable if we do that, so we don't really want to do that. I'm just going to do some little jobs that I need to get done. I've just topped up the fuel tank from the reserve tanks I've got. We've got plenty of fuel, which is good, and I'm just going to top up the oil. I've been monitoring the oil levels just to make sure that they're not going down. I think it is using a little bit of oil, but not, you know, not vast quantities, but I'll probably just give it another 100 ml of oil just to make sure it stays nice and topped up. I also am going to do a job on the dinghy. That rope that we've got on the dinghy has been on it for like 6 years, and to be fair, it's done a really great job, but I'm becoming increasingly concerned as to whether or not it's going to keep holding, or if it's going to rip that front ring off. So as we've got some rough weather coming, now's probably a good time just to beef that up a little bit. So I'm going to do that, and then yeah, and just relax and try and stay warm.
So we haven't really done that much today. It's now about 2 o'clock. We've only just come to shore. Skylar was absolutely knackered last night, so she's literally slept for like the last 14 hours. Bless her. So we finally come to shore. We're going to have a little walk and just see what there is this way down the road. Right, so we've almost walked all the way to Arisaig village, but I think this is where as sort of far we're going to go. We've been walking for about 45 minutes now, so what we're going to do is turn around and head back. But it's been a very beautiful walk. Like the forests along the side of the road is very magical. It's like something out of a fairy tale. You'd think there'd be like fairies and that in it, so it's really pretty. But yeah, I think I'm going to call the walk here, and we're going to start to head back now to the boat. Well, it is an absolutely stunning morning here in Arisaig. The sunrise over the village, it was coming up through some mist. It was absolutely gorgeous. And now Tim and Skylar have gone to shore because we're getting ready to leave nice and early. So we got up about 6, aiming to leave by 7, so we can get into Mallaig nice and early, and hopefully, as the weather is absolutely stunning at the moment, there will be some spaces for us to get in ready for the storm and the winds that are coming later on today and tomorrow.
So the engine's warming up. We obviously got to get back out of Arisaig. Coffee's also warmed up. So yeah, I guess we'll get things sorted and we'll head out. So we made it out just about, just out past the last marker. Certainly a bit of swell out here, which is kind of to be expected given all the wind's been like the last couple of days. We're heading straight into it right now, but at the moment we're going to turn to the right. So it might be a bit rolly, but at least we won't be fighting against it quite as much. And hopefully there's enough wind that we're just going to head sail out and sail all the way to Mallaig, where they'll welcome us with open arms and give us safe haven for the next couple of days. So we spoke to Mallaig Harbour and they do have room for us. He wasn't particularly emphatic about it, but he told us where we'd be and told us to radio them when we're getting close, so I think we're good to get in there. Quite a red letter day for a couple of reasons, I guess. Firstly, the last time I was in Mallaig was with Jim and Fortune last year on the Faroes trip. So it's kind of nice to be coming back here on our own boat. Feels like quite an achievement, but also we've always had this sort of stretch goal. We had it previously when we had Salty, and it always seemed like a really sort of far off
Dream, really?
yeah, it always seemed like a really sort of like out there difficult kind of dream to achieve, and that was to sail our own boat from where we keep it to the Isle of Skye. And whilst Mallaig is not on the Isle of Skye, as we get big rolly waves, that over there is the Isle of Skye, which feels very close now. And obviously we're not going to make that there today or the next couple of days while we hide out here, but next stop should be the Isle of Skye after Mallaig. So yeah, pretty exciting to have had this kind of goal that we've always described as a stretch goal, and we in the back of our head always thought, yeah, maybe we're not going to make that. That seems like a long way to go, and here we are. Make out individual houses on the Isle of Skye, and yeah, literally just a short hop to it. So yeah, so far so good. Been a really great trip, and hopefully we'll continue that way after the next couple of days of storm.
As we neared the marina, it was time for me to put my brave pants on and get the fenders ready for when we pulled up at the pontoon. So we are now safe in Mallaig Harbour, and we've moored up and we have had breakfast, and we're now off out exploring the nice weather, because it is going to come in, like we said, later today with a lot of wind, but it's also going to come in raining tomorrow. So we are trying to find a circular walking route, because there's a nice viewpoint up the top there, and yeah, just make the most of the nice weather whilst we can. The views at the top of the circular route were just amazing, and while up here I spotted some stone chats, which I later went back to photograph. And if you are interested, I did make a whole video on that, which is linked in the description and is over on my photography channel. The rest of the day was spent exploring the town and making the most of the facilities. Right, so it's now the following morning and Skylar and I have just come out for a walk. We had a really nice quiet night on the pontoon down at the marina, and so we sort of come out because because they said it was going to be so windy, and you really can't feel it down there. So I thought I'd come out and whilst I give Skylar a walk, check and see how windy it actually is. And it is properly windy, and it's a biting wind as well. It's very cold, but it's dry at the moment, so we're going to make the most of that, and yeah, go for a little walk around Mallaig so Skylar can have a leg stretch and I can find a post box, because I got a couple of cards I need to send. After reaching the viewpoint over the loch, it was back to Mallaig to the post box before catching up with some work and the laundry. Next time, we leave Mallaig and have a rough crossing as we continue our trip north and see some dolphins on our way to the beautiful Isle of Mull.